Okay, so some of the things that we're working on the shop right now, a little bit of a battery conversion. So many of us are used to the military vehicles having either the 6TL or in this case here it's the 6TAGM, basically the same thing, just the ATGM battery, kind of like what an Optima is. And there's a lot of guys that want to convert their trucks from the standard 6TL over to something like an Optima yellow top, red top, one of those type of batteries. I know for the deuce and a halfs, it's been very common to switch over to the Group 31, as well as doing either the Group 31 or something like a 8D style loader battery in one of the 5 tons or bigger trucks. All right. What we want to focus on right now is what we're working on at the moment, and there will be more to come, but for right now, we're going to focus on our Optima yellow top and the wonderful tray that we came up with. So you'll have to forgive me for this one time. The tray was supposed to be the same size as the 6TL. I entered a measurement wrong in the CAD. Sorry, whoops. So what you see right here for this thickness on the edges, that is going to be trimmed way down, or possibly after the curve left open. So what we've got to start off with is, if you're working on a 5-ton, deuce and a half, something like that, that uses the standard 6TL in whatever configuration, we are going to now have this tray available. It's made from a 3/4 inch plastic material. Sorry, the bottom side got a little dirty. We actually machine this out so that it fits the yellow top perfectly. Your yellow top drops in, and as you see, there's this distance between the top and bottom. That matches the distance of our cutout. And then we have plastic lockdowns that go in, and they fit perfectly around the cells and then thread into the steel inserts that are embedded in the plastic. Because the distance is measured out to match this perfectly with this, the plastic has just a very small amount that's left overhanging, and the battery gets held in very well. We thought about using something like aluminum or steel for our hold downs. The problem with that is military trucks, they vibrate around, they shake a lot. We don't want to start cutting into the plastic casing of the battery. I can assure you that this plastic is indeed durable enough, strong enough to hold this battery in place for the long term without issue. Okay, but let's say you're working on something now like a Humvee or something like that, and you really got to be concerned about how that battery is held in place. You don't want the normal tie down with the J-hooks. It's not going to work on this battery. Putting this tray in place is not going to hold it in place. What do? Voila. There is our prototype that we made up yesterday. You can see it's not exactly perfect, and it is just a rough outline, but this will be made out of the same type of material as this. It will bolt down. These 4 bolts here, these holes, are the original mounting location of the current battery tray in the Humvee. There will be an additional relief cut in here for where your slave cable lines run through to go into the extra box and over to your jump point. That will be cleaned out so that the cables can lay in there nicely. So imagine, if you will, use some imagination, that the same relief route will be in here for 2 of these Optimas to sit in nicely and get locked down with your plates. Now you can take your battery tray that's in the Humvee and replace the large, annoying 6TLs that are sometimes hard to find replace them with a much more common Optima. We are going to be doing this also for other types of batteries, standard off-the-shelf batteries. It's just right now we had to start with one, so we started with one, and we'll slowly work our way to the Group 34 standard batteries. We'll see about the Group 31 that most people like to use. The problem is that Group 31 does have a longer case body than the 6TL. Yes, it's narrower, but it is longer. So for those instances, we're going to have to do the similar thing like we're doing with the Humvee and completely rebuild the actual tray hold down. But that's some of the stuff that we're working on. We also just got our hands on a pretty decent M37 battery box, original battery box. So again, we're going to start to design that same setup for the M37. What's really great is that you'll be able to fit 2 of these Optimas in there with no problem. So if you're running your standard stock 24 volt system on the M37, you can still do it. If you decide that you want to change your M37 to 12 volt, well, you can run 2 12 volt batteries paralleled instead of in series and now have even more 12 volt power. Or we're going to go ahead and make just a single battery tray so that you can run just one 12 volt battery. So you guys with the M37s are definitely going to have some options for you available as well. These items will be coming out very soon. This is the time of year where we start to work on our product development more and more because regular orders do slow down. We've spent the last year building up with all of the new equipment in the shop, from our large format heavy plasma cutter, CNC plasma table, to the CNC router, to the CNC milling center, to the large format lathes, all so we can start to do more and more of these custom made parts. If you've got a vehicle that you want to do something a little different with, you need a custom built battery tray, let us know. We'd love to work with you on that, let you be our product test dummy and see how it works and make sure that it works before we put it out there to the rest of the world. So thanks for watching, guys. Okay, so what does this battery look like when it's in the tray? As you can see, it's flush mounted, and right in here, these are the points where this tray, this lockdown, will slide right in there. It will match the contour of the battery tray. And as you can see, right there, your 3 bolt holes. You'll bolt this down with the bolts and a washer, and that will spread that load. And I'm sorry, our lighting here is horrible. Maybe if I come around the other side, you can see it a little better. There we go. Holding the camera at a strange angle, so forgive me, but there you go. So that's all locked in, and once bolted down, you're not moving that battery around. So that's what we're working on, guys. So one of the things that we forgot to mention is your 6TL. That weighs in, we just threw it on the scale, it weighs 85.63 pounds. Versus the Optima Yellow Top here, weighed in at only 44.7 pounds. So you're nearly half the weight of your 6TL. Now, your standard 6TL battery doesn't put out a whole lot of cold cranking amps. The ATGM, yes, those, they got a lot better on. See, you got 1100 and 400. So here on the Optima, you got 870, 750. So depending upon the temperature that's outside, that can change. Your reserve here on the 6 ATGM is 230 minutes versus 120 minutes on the Optima. So you are going to lose a little switching to an Optima if you currently have the ATGM in your vehicle. But if you have the standard 6TL, you're going to gain a whole lot more by switching up to the Optima. And again, we're still going to be working on these for other types of batteries, other DIN sizes, and we'll have all of that stuff available. You also have to forgive the fact that, hey, we've got a mix of white and green plastics. We're working with what's left laying around the shop right now after a bunch of different production type runs. We will be contacting the plastic supplier and seeing what we can get in a standard color, and making sure that everything matches our spec for what we want, to make sure that if your vehicle does get into an accident, does roll over, something like that, that this battery is never going to come flying out on you. That's definitely something that's huge for us, and we will be making sure that that is not the case.